Lance Stroll and Fernando Alonso are looking like they have different cars underneath them, and the situation holds for basically the entire year. Just a regular state of events. Lance Stroll is out of Q1, Fernando Alonso is safe in Q3. This picture became pretty regular. But what's the problem? Let's find out on an example of Qatar qualifying laps. Fernando, Lance Stroll, we see them both having the same initial speed, but Fernando is picking up the slipstream just at the beginning of his lap, and we can see a huge difference, 5 km/h, so slipstream basically still works. It didn't disappear completely with new rule set of 2022, but I digress and we move towards the first braking point. And for this corner, both Fernando and Lance will brake at the same point. The only difference is that Lance is not there. But now check the difference in driving lines. Lance Stroll is picking a pretty early apex, while Fernando Alonso will be way later with his apex. And you actually can do this in this first turn, because the turn itself is pretty long with a huge square, so different lines can be applied, and I actually like Lance's early apex in this particular corner, because the track has a long straight before it, and the straight after it is pretty short, so a good turn for Lance. But unfortunately, it will be the last good turn for Lance Stroll. We see right now he's a bit ahead of Fernando, but from now on things will start to fall off. So we see for the second corner Fernando will brake a little bit later, which is understandable. We also see Lance turning in earlier than Fernando, but Fernando starts turning in a bit later on. He manages to rotate the car quickly, which results in a way more straightened exit, and we see already Fernando having full throttle applied, besides being still a bit behind of Lance Stroll, and of course having a speed advantage, so the exit out of the corner will be better for Fernando. And we will already see the difference coming into turn 4. Now, the whole thing of the circuit is basically that it is really wide, one of the widest circuits. So even the corners that on a track map may look like they should be medium speed corner, or this turn 6, which looks like it would be a slow speed corner, are actually a tier higher. These two corners are a high speed corners, and turn 6 is a medium speed corner. So this is basically circuit without low speed corners, which is quite unique. And we see Alonso braking later than Lance Stroll. They enter the corner. None of them is going too wide. We've seen some lap times being deleted out here. Also, we've seen some mistakes being done in turn 4 with oversteering. But not such a thing here. Huge difference in pedal work. And even lines throughout this corner are different, because Fernando for turn 5 once again was turning in a little bit later, so his entrance was wider, but he will cut the corner a bit more on the apex, so the whole line throughout the corner is way faster for Fernando. We already see him being quite ahead, and also we see Lance Stroll losing 0.3 of a second in the very first sector. Of course, it was an outstanding sector for Fernando Alonso, the best one so far in Q1, but still difference is huge. So we drag Lance Stroll towards Fernando. We see once again a big difference in braking points, because Fernando is just starting the braking, while Lance is already full on the brakes. So yeah, they enter the corner, and once again a huge difference. Early entry from Lance Stroll, but he's entering the corner too early. The car is under-rotated. He will have to rotate it more on the exit of the corner, which will result in a huge loss. While Fernando is late on the brakes, turning the car in as much as he can, and he straightens the exit. Huge difference in line and huge difference in speed at the exit of the corner. And we see a huge gap was done in basically one corner. So we drag Lance Stroll forward once again. Once again we move towards the next corner, and once again we see the same pattern. Fernando brakes later and turns in later. Here's the closest part for Lance Stroll to the track border, so we can count it as an early apex. And Fernando will have a way later apex in this corner. We can say that Lance pretty much fully missed the corner, but here a huge mistake. I was actually surprised to see car oversteering so much at nearly 250 kilometers per hour. Who could even imagine this happening? It tells us that the tarmac is really slippery. So no surprise we saw a lot of cars just oversteering throughout the whole track. But what we will see from Fernando afterwards, this mistake, is actually pretty remarkable. We see him started braking, just sort of catching, trying to stabilize the car. Right here is the point where Lance will start braking, but Fernando will actually divide his braking, having a small step on the brakes down here, then not braking for quite a huge amount of the track, and then starting his braking way later than Lance Stroll. So it might be planned, but it might be a result of this mistake. And if it's a result of a mistake, it just shows you why Alonso is one of the greatest drivers. Being able to make such a fast correction on the fly is just remarkable, because at these speeds it's pure reflexes. So they enter the next corner. It is a bit screwed for Fernando because of the previous mistakes, so it is basically the only corner when we see some similar lines from both of the drivers. And we will also see some similar results on the exit. But still, Fernando is ahead. More than half of a second on a second sector. Lance's approach of early entrance just doesn't work for this car. So we drag him forward once again, and here we approach quite an interesting section. I would call it tip of a sword, basically. A nice section, 3 fast right-handers in a row, and a huge difference in pedal work once again. Fernando just showing some bravery, I should say, and this bravery ends up in 20 kilometers per hour difference throughout the fast corner. Oh my god. And we even see him and Lance using different gears throughout the corner, so we drag Lance Stroll forward once again. One more quick right-hander. For this one actually, Fernando uses a bit of the 2 pedals technique, but speed difference is not so huge, which is actually good for Lance Stroll considering the whole situation around the lap. One more time we will see Fernando braking a bit later than Lance, but for once we will not see a too early entrance from Lance Stroll, so he managed to keep up. And now we enter the last corner. Fernando will brake way later, as usual for now. And we will see Fernando catching the car just at the middle of the corner. The worst part for oversteer to appear. And the fact that he's catching the car right here tells us that he's just on the edge of the grip. This speed of 175 is a maximum speed which you can take throughout the corner. And now just check this out. Lance Stroll is 25 kilometers per hour under the maximum speed throughout the corner. Yes, he might have a bit lower downforce, but I cannot even imagine setups being so different that maximum speed in corners will differ so much. So yeah, basically a disaster for Lance Stroll. We see not even personal best sector for Fernando Alonso, still faster than Lance Stroll for 0.3 of a second. So results look not so good for Lance Stroll. The best thing he can do right now is to try to enter the corners later and concentrate on the exits of the corners. Because leave a like, subscribe to the channel, type a comment if you want to support me or if you disagree with something. See you soon.
I wanna be the greatest. Everybody on the fake shit. I look around and feel like everybody is the fakest. I make this every day and I'm impatient, hoping one day I blow up from the basement. Statement, the top is so vacant. I don't hear shit that I think is amazing. Waiting for my day when I'm playing sold out shows for 1,000 faces. Hey,